Hey guys, it's Qcento, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Northern Realms Mobilization deck that I made. This one is strictly control based and uses a very similar framework to what we've seen in Revenant decks in recent tournaments prior to the Way of the Witcher expansion, however it has a few new additions. This plays very similar to the Syndicate Crime deck that I posted about a week ago, so if you enjoyed that style of play, I definitely recommend that you try this. The idea here is to remove your opponent's engines with countless damage options while creating a swarm of revenants for yourself. Ideally, you want to win a long round 1, pass round 2, and come back for a long round 3, because should you find yourself in a position where you lose round 1, it may take fairly large commitments in order to sort of defend the bleed, right? So let's take a look at some of the important cards that bring it all together, and we'll get into a few games for reference here. So for deck tutors, we have Oneiromancy. It's an echo card that allows us to play any card from deck. Generally, I use this to pull into either a Philippa, a Falibor, a Karathi, a Queen of Dahlia, or an Idarran, something that's a taller unit that might even be non-devotion that we can't get with any other tutor. And we have the ability to play it twice, so it really helps with deck consistency in this case. And then we have Amphibious Assault. It's another echo card. You're able to play a Northern Realms unit with 9 or less provision from your deck and boost it by 1 for each provision below the limit. This is really good for pulling into whether it be our Vincent if we're in a pinch and we need it. A point slam could be the Ronvid. We have the option to pull the Griffin Witchers, the Kedwenny Revenants, of course the Archers, pretty well anything that we need at any given time. And you focus on the lower provision cards because you want to have that extra boost in points and that added value when you use it. But if you are in a pinch, you can get something on the higher end, like John and Talus, so that you can get another Warfare card or something like that. But ideally, keep it on the lower provision cards. And then we have John and Talus, which allows us to play a Warfare card from deck. So generally, you're using this to either look for your Amphibious or to look for a Boiling Oil. And, it acts as an extra body on the playing field as well. Generally, when I have Natalis and Amphibious in hand, I'll mulligan away Amphibious just so that we can pull it with John for a bit nicer play overall. And then getting into the engines, to start off with, we have Idarran of Vlivo. This is a new card. The first time you spawn a unit, each turn spawn a 1-powered unit on this row and give it a doom status. So this is what's going to really replicate our revenants and help get them out there. What's nice is they come in at 1 bodies, they have 1 damage in pocket. After the damage is expended, we can literally just recycle them with an existing revenant to get a new 3-body revenant out there. So you saw in one of our games, it's a very powerful way to sort of swarm the board and get a lot of big bodies out there rather quick. So that's definitely a new addition that you want to have in this deck to make it viable during the Way of the Witcher expansion. And then we have the Griffin Witchers. I like these ones here. They're actually new cards. On order, for melee, damage an enemy unit by 1. It has a cooldown of 1, so you can do it every turn. With Adrenaline 3 being 3 or less cards in your hand, damage a random enemy unit by 3 and lock itself. This is great because it deals damage throughout the entire round, and it just gives you an extra little gift at the end before it locks itself and damages an enemy unit by 3. So there's a couple ways that you could sort of make this extended as an engine. For example, we have Crystal Skull as our stratagem. You can always put it on the Witcher as well so that it doesn't end up locking itself, but generally I just leave it. Or you can even go ahead and use the Fortune Teller and give it Veil so that it doesn't lock itself either. Tons of different options with that. And of course, we have the Kedwenny Revenants. This is kind of what the whole deck revolves around, so it makes sense to have a couple actual cards of this in the deck as well. On order, damage a unit by 1. On death blow, spawn a base copy of a Kedwenny Revenant and summon it to the row. So ideally, you want to pinch things down with our damage units, such as our Griffin Witchers, our Maulers, etc., and get them to 1 power so we could finish the job with the Kedwenny Revenant and spawn a new one that has order that we can use next turn and repeat the cycle. And lastly, we have our Redanian Archers. With these ones here, you put them on ranged row and they're only active on ranged. It has Zeal, and every turn you're able to get a charge and damage a unit by 1 if there's barricade on the unit. So it's a very powerful resource to help kind of tutor the Revenants. Again, I do like how we have this in sync with the Witchers so that we have a couple different options should any of them get destroyed or locked up or whatnot. So it's very powerful. You can make copies of either of these cards with cards like a Dahlia or even our leader ability to get that extra engine out there for damage throughout the round. So it's a very, very strong solution. So let's get into a couple games so you guys can see for yourself how it works, and I'll be posting the deck guide on playgwent.com so you can just easily import it to your decks afterwards and give it a try for yourself. Alright, let's get into it. First game's looking like Lippy.
Yield and save me some time.
So we'll keep that for the Cirrus. Probably get rid of a boiling oil. And we have adequate Revs situations, but we need more damage. Something to actually bring down the units. So in order for us to win here, we cannot lose this round. We have to definitely bleed. That's interesting. So we'll actually go for that so they can't remove it. It gets phenomenal value for a 5 provision card, just 1 damage per turn every turn. And then 3 damage randomly when it locks itself with Adrenaline 3. It's one of my favorite new cards from the expansion. So if they are playing Lippy, they're really filling up the front row, which is not good for them.
The bolt softens them up, the sword finishes them off.
I'm reluctant to actually kill anything on the front row until we figure out what we're doing here. It's a pretty good trade. I'll take a stunning blow for one of the Revenants. So there's most of the leader gone, that's great. We'll just pop that in here.
Who's next? Any of you's got the courage?
1, 2, 3. So you'll see this is actually a great play. We can go in for the Vincent with Amphibious, it'll boost it, right? Take down the defender. And we just make it food. Now we put them in a position where they're losing uneven. Patience is key with this one, it just becomes overwhelming over time. And then we'll dump our Ronvid next so that we have it engraved.
For me, Filbury's honor.
There you go. So that's a really good round one. Definitely according to plan. We got rid of a lot of the leader. We got rid of a nice amount of golds. Because we don't bleed here, we don't need Fortune Teller because we're not going to be running into the Cirrus in round 2. I'd say we go for the damage every day. So to complete this, I'd like to be able to have, you know, Idarran and Archer too. Oh, this is some weird, interesting. So it's not Lippy because it's 9 and under. Idarran, Archer. There we go. We have a lot of nice little heatwave targets. So we could pull into the second Archer with Amphibious and we can get potentially just John and Boiling or something like that with Oniromancy.
The goddess protects you from all evil.
They chanting. For this most beautiful of maidens, I shall fight 100 duels. The sky'll burn with the eternal fire.
Just get things started in case they kill them.
When I do the tenderizing, there's nothing left to fry.
So I'm not going to hit it till I have stored damage because we don't want it to start gaining armor.
Cameria has yet to speak its last.
Suppose we could have done it the other way where we purified that with the boiling on the death blow, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really do anything else for us. And all of our damage is targeted here, so... We'll get to work on the ship. Probably take it out in a turn or so.
Commanders go. Point to face our fears.
Nice, hit the front. Ah.
For honor. And for courage.
So we can get rid of that. It's not going to hit us. Keep taking down the boat. We'll be able to finish it next turn. And so Idarran's great here.
My friend here will tear you to pieces.
It's too bad we couldn't reuse the Mauler, but it is what it is. we'll just probably crank Philippa down on ranged. There we go. It's closer than it looks. We can heat wave the priest, and that's going to act for really big points here. One, two. I want to keep food looking good, right?
I cannot fail.
Blood alone can my maid's honor unbesmirch.
There you go. Alright, so the next one's against Assimilate. We'll see how it goes. Keep Ronvid for the first round. Can mulligan back one of those. I like the pocket damage. We want a bit more though. I think we can get Idarran back later. So you always want to start off with an order card, basically getting things going. Then we can decide where we want to put the damage. I'm guessing they put down like a 4 power assimilate unit, which then we can basically just hit it. That's good too. Allows us to just... And I like Crystal Skull so they can't lock it. Always boost the first one up so that we have the ability to keep it going. And then we just rinse and repeat. Unfortunately, it came on melee, so we have to put this on melee too, but it's fine.
This dance you will never forget.
Really big temple play would be this, because that's a big body card, base power wise. And that pulls the Idarran. Hopefully it goes unranged. Ah, Falibor, right. That's an issue. Philippa every day. That's unfortunate though. But they literally went mata into that, or something like this, right? Because of the big lead, we can look at just leaving. I don't have a problem in just getting around security with Ronvid. And assuming they play here, we have a pretty decent pass. Ronvid's kind of like our security revenant food. Keeps coming back whenever we play a soldier. We have tons of soldiers in our deck. Renew out for the Ulcer. For the mana, okay.
We dance. For young is the night.
Down by 23. Can they do it in 3 cards? We'll go Nero into John into Amphibious into Kedwani. Basically helps thin the deck out a little bit, give us some of the stuff we need. Also just sort of secures the round. And then we get back the 2 Echo cards for round 3. And we're pretty well guaranteed to get every single thing we need. I'm really hoping that they play here. And it looks like they're considering. Because then we have an optimal pass. I don't see them tempoing ahead like that. There it is. It's looking like some kind of mill.
An interesting choice.
Look at that. Like falling stars.
So because we forced the round loss on even, we have to just play this out. I don't know if we're even going to have any cards by round 3. So let's just go for it. Not as worried about damage and stuff like that, or giving something doomed, so we'll just... Or sorry, not concerned about boosts. Let's just get rid of some of the boost stuff. So Idarran goes down, we got a Dahlia down for, I guess, a Kedwani Knight in this case. Or Revenant, rather.
Mine do you like them?
And then we'll just leader the archers. That'll probably be my first move. The good part here is that the deck they're playing doesn't have an exorbitant amount of points. Yeah. So, got 1.
So many
For this most beautiful of maidens, I shall fight 100 duels.
Now it's not optimal, but what can you do? That's sort of one of the pitfalls. We do get the archers sometimes on the other row, but we have to do that for space. Then we'll go with Dahlia down into the Rev on ranged.
I wonder what these things will capture this time.
There are things in the universe of which even the sages have not dreamt.
So we could just do a little bit of row management. We'll leave this here in case for whatever reason it gets pushed back. But we have, you know, the top row we can mess around with, their stuff. If they play any spying units, we can take care of those.
A 100 faces.
Nero into boiling's not bad here. I say we just leave it though. Free up a little space. Because we can heat wave the tallest unit, so we have to make a sacrifice on one of the 5s. If we can get enough damage in pocket, that we can take that out next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
Here's our chance.
Ah, they got it. That's what I was worried about, them playing Oniro. If it is Colgrim that they're playing, because I've seen that a lot in mill decks, it's not going to be overly strong. There's not really a difference in terms of our deck size and whatnot.
Her grace will not be pleased.
We follow Letham's lead.
Okay, nice. We'll focus on the things we can control. It's risky as hell. I say we just go in for one removal. And then we'll have to basically try and kill a couple ones and waste them to give row space. Because we definitely want to be able to actually still play. But so far it's not looking too bad. If it gets real tricky, we could look for a pass because we still have a couple cards in our deck here, but it's fine.
Impressive.
And just because I'd rather see it gone. There we go. I was gonna say we could just start throwing cards in grave. The lead's like super big. So there you have it, guys. We played a few games, so we have a couple relatively easy wins. And I'm gonna be posting the deck guide, like I said, on playgwent.com, so you can check it out for yourself. It definitely adds some variety to the game. It keeps things exciting. So if you want to change from what you've been playing or what you've been seeing on the ladder, definitely try it. And I do stream on every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday on Twitch. And I recently got some new emotes. You can come check them out and come hang out, and I'll be on tonight as well. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time.